Hey, we are back. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the audio, a podcast series by me. I am Hannah Wellness. This is week 2 out of 52. We're just giving it a year run, seeing how it's going. If you missed last week's pod, I'm like basically a podcaster at this point. Wow. I made a New Year's resolution that I wanted to start documenting my life. So each week I post a video. It's called The Visual. It's a little video recap of my week, and then I get on here and I talk all about it. Let's hop right into it. First of all, it is like 11:40 on Sunday night. I have been up since 5 a.m. working all day. So the podcast might be a little short this week, but I'm trying to stick to my goal of filming every Sunday night and being able to upload on Monday mornings. So we're just grinding through it. Also, apologies in advance because I sucked at taking videos this week. So the visual is a little bit shorter than normal. And I'm just getting in the swing of things. I'm trying to give myself a little grace on that end because it's a learning curve. I'm new to this whole YouTube life. So I'm going to get it together and it's only going up from here. But let's recap my week to start, I suppose. Monday was awesome. It was my first day back at practice, just like we talked about. And honestly, not my best practice ever, which I knew was going to happen. You play volleyball forever, your whole life, and then you stop playing for 4 months. It's not going to come right back to you. So I knew going into this week that it was going to be really, really difficult to get back into the swing of things, but I was excited for the challenge to get back with the girls and get back into it and have an awesome season with them. So Monday was Monday. And then luckily, my schedule this year is super duper awesome. So I had a Zoom on Monday afternoon around 1 for my children's literature class, which is awesome. I actually am really enjoying that class. We're talking about banned books and the power of children's literature and how much kids can learn just through reading about the world and deep philosophical things. And it's just something I've never thought about. Like, think about the Lorax, for example. Like, it's talking about big corporations and overuse and environmentalism, all in the form of a silly little children's rhyming book. And we don't even realize it. And children are learning so much just through reading, which then turns into the bigger conversation of like, should we be banning books? Should we decide what kids should be able to read? And then it goes back into like what we all talked about like 5 years ago about violent video games and violent movies and what kids should and shouldn't be allowed to watch. So I think that class is going to be interesting as it goes on. You'll find out about it next week on the pod, I suppose. And then I had class again. That was my Zoom class in the afternoon. And then I had class on Monday night from 4 to 6. I have technology in the classroom. I don't know if we talked about this. I'm an education major. I'm studying teaching and I graduate in May. Amen. So these are just like my last couple of classes that I got to get through. But I'm actually also really excited for this technology in the classroom class because I thought it was going to be about using Canvas and making PowerPoints and da-da-da-da, which is something obviously all of us college kids who went through COVID life, like, we're pros. I was like thinking this was going to be a waste of my time. But it's actually kind of cool, and we're talking about what ways we can use technology in the classroom with our kids, what ways might be too far, even just the behind the scenes nitty-gritty of like taking attendance on those things, keeping grades, and finding systems that work for us. The power AI can have in the classroom, which is just a huge broad topic that I haven't even spent enough time thinking about. But that was my Monday, and then I came home and cooked dinner and honked out and went to bed because I'm waking up at freaking 5:30 every day for practice. So it was an early day. Then Tuesday, again, just had practice, and I didn't have any classes on Tuesday. So I came home and I took, I think, the longest nap of my life. Like, it was one of the best, if not the best nap of my life. And then I kind of hung out around the house, ran a couple errands, did my thing, and ended up going to work. I coach on Tuesday nights, so went into work, did all of that stuff, coached the girls. That's somewhere where I want to take more videos of coaching, and I did take some this weekend, so I'm happy about that. But I love coaching my girls, and they're just an awesome crowd to be around and a great group and great parents and a great team, and it's a great job to have. So we'll circle back to that topic, but that was my Tuesday, was coaching and practice, so all the volleyball world things. Wednesday again had practice, and Wednesday I think was kind of where I was like, okay, I'm getting it together. I'm not back by all means. It's not going to take just 2 days and I'm going to be like fully ready and grooving, but I was like starting to feel good on Wednesday. And then Wednesday I came home, took my nap because I'm a nap girl. If you're not a nap person, it's going to be hard for us to be friends because I need at least like a 2-hour break in the middle of my day to nap each and every day. Anyways, so I took my nap and then I ended up meeting up with some friends and we went all the way up to Fullerton to my last school where I talked about RJ on the podcast last week. And we went to his basketball game, and I'm just super duper proud of him because he's had it rough with some injuries and he's finally back out here grinding, doing his thing, playing some basketball. So we got to go watch them kick butt, which was super fun. Maddie and Emma and me just got to laugh and joke around and then also just have some random deep talks, and that's my kind of friend group right there, is being able to talk about random things and then also talk about deep big things and still have a good time at the end of the night. So we went to the basketball game, and then after that we decided we needed some Wise Guys because it is the best. So we went over to Wise Guys and had some garlic knots and saw our other teammate Bailey and chatted and hung out there for a little while. And then we came home, went to bed once again because we're up early every day for practice. Thursday, woke up, went to practice. As always, you guys are going to see lots of sunset videos in the podcast because we are up early every day. And did that and then came home, took a nap again, as I do. And then I had another class on Thursday, and it's my senior capstone class. And I don't know if every college does this, but capstone for us is basically like career readiness, which means we go in and we're working on our teaching portfolios, we're doing mock interviews, we're starting to apply to like teaching credential programs, we're figuring out what our next steps are going to be after we graduate, so we're not just going into the world completely blind, not knowing what we're doing. So I had my capstone class, and it's only 30 minutes once a week, so super duper easy. But this week my professor decided we just needed some classroom bonding, so me and 12 other college kids played a game of Taboo, and then he handed us a hard copy of the syllabus, which is all on Canvas, and I'm like, you're wasting paper, dude, but it's fine. We played our game of Taboo, and then we left. So super eventful Thursday, and once I left that class, me and Mads on Thursday nights always cook dinner at my apartment. So Mads came back from Vanguard with me. We came back to the house together, and we ended up sitting there and found all of the old film on all of our teammates. So film of them in high school and in college. And it was just so fun to look back and watch. And honestly, the best part of the whole night was we found this one video. We Googled our coach. His name's Chris. He's awesome. We Googled Chris and we found a video of him and his wife from like 10, 15 years ago coaching, and he just looks so goofy. Like it was the time of like the Adam Sandler fits, like the below the knee shorts, the weird Nike white shoes, like all of that. So we watched that, and it was titled Mr. and Mrs. Coach if you want to look it up. But it was freaking awesome. So we watched that, and then we found video of them or her playing at USC, and we watched some of that. And then we went to the grocery store and cooked dinner. We had Chipotle bowls, so I cooked up some chicken and made some rice and avocados, and it was delicious. They were so stinking good and pretty easy to make. I don't know why I don't make that more often. And then after that, oh my gosh, Thursday was my longest day for sure. We went to the Vanguard basketball game. So I went to the Fullerton game on Wednesday, and then I went to the Vanguard game on Thursday, which was, again, super duper fun. They ended up losing, but it was a fun game to be at. There was this really weird guy sitting behind us who just kept making like offhand comments, and it was just kind of inappropriate. And it was like an old man, like, you know, when they joke, oh, like different generation. That was for sure him. Like, those are not things that our generation would say, and he was just like spewing them out. So that was annoying. And then Friday was another long day. We had practice in the morning, and then on Friday, all the beach girls, we always go to Bo's Bagels. It's in Huntington Beach. You should definitely go try it sometime. They have the best sandwiches, bagel sandwiches. If you're there, get the Tower 9. It's my favorite. And the orange juice is always thebomb.com. But we went over to Bo's and hung out there for a little bit, and then I came home after that and took a quick shower and had Friday was my 1.5 year anniversary with Sam. So since me and Sam are in long distance life, we were not able to spend the weekend together, but we had a Zoom, or not a Zoom, we just FaceTime, but we had a FaceTime date, and he DoorDashed me lunch to my apartment, so I got to eat and sit with him and just chat about life for like 2 hours. And then after that, I went over to Pro Play to work. And for a while, I just sat and I was selling gear because this weekend at Pro Play, which we'll talk a ton about, was media weekend. So we had teams coming in and out taking pictures for their team photos, but we also at the front desk set up like 6 rows, 6 tables worth of like shirts and shorts and sweatpants and jackets and hoodies, so the parents could come in and buy stuff if they wanted to rep Pro Play gear at the tournaments. So before my practices, I was in charge of running that table. So I was there for a couple hours doing that, and then I bounced over, coached my 2 teams for 4 hours, and then I ended up back at home late Friday night. And then this is where it gets freaking crazy. Saturday morning, I was back at the gear table at 8 a.m. working. So I worked at the gear table from 8 a.m. until 1:30, and then at 1:30, my assistant for my 14s and 16 teams, Abby, you're awesome, got to the facility, and then we drove all the way to our tournament, which was like a 40-minute drive, and then we coached all night long until like 9:30. And I got home and went to bed at 10:30 last night. And then this morning I woke up at 5 a.m. because I'm crazy and I don't know why I do this kind of stuff to myself. And I went to a different Pro Play location that's not too far. It's like 20 minutes away from my house. I had to be there at 6 a.m. to check in parents and run a snack bar because we were hosting a tournament at that location. So we had a bunch of random volleyball girls and volleyball parents and all these people coming in, and we were kind of like running the event site. So I was there from 6 a.m. until probably 2:30. And then again, Abby met up with me and we drove straight to our tournament and coached. And I literally just got home and did my homework. I had one assignment. So I got home at 11:15 and did my assignment. And now I'm sitting here talking to you guys. And tomorrow I have to be once again at the Pro Play place working at 6 a.m. until like 8:30. So it's been a long few days. And honestly, I kind of have a headache right now, but I'm trying to like push through it and finish the podcast so that while I'm working tomorrow, I can upload it and post about it. And then it'll all be taken care of. And I know I'm going to be happy that I did all of this ahead of time. So yeah, that's the recap of my week so far. Friday at practice, I'm trying to think about good things that happened. Friday at practice, I had a really good day. Things were just kind of clicking. They were falling into place. I was able to talk with one of our coaches about blocking more, which is my job in beach volleyball. You have like a defender and a blocker, and I'm the blocker because I'm tall and my arms are freaking long as heck. So I was able to talk to one of our coaches about that, which was nice to kind of dive into that a little bit. And yeah, some random things were just clicking and I had a lot of fun. I was hitting well and passing well. So I was glad that I was able to end the week feeling really good about my improvements as we start to roll into getting into game time. I mean, we have a game in less than a month, so it's time to get on it. I think I was going to spend this podcast talking about like my volleyball journey, but I don't have the energy for that because I've been coaching 14-year-olds for 2 days and they just take it out of me. First of all, I'm so stinking proud of them. They started the season 0-9. Like, we weren't trash. We weren't like the worst at all. Like, there were teams ranked below us. We were in a pretty good division. But we started the season 0-9, and it was just like such a slow, rough start. And the girls' spirits were so low. But that was like a month ago, and we worked our butts off. And we just finished our weekend, and we went 5-1. And I am so proud. We could have gone 6-0, but we just lost a little bit of energy there at the end. But I'm so proud of the girls. They earned all of their wins. They worked their butts off. They improved so much over the last month. And I'm just so excited for another 5 months of coaching them. So I'm thinking, instead of sharing my like whole like playing volleyball journey with you guys, that today I'll just talk about like maybe my like string of jobs, because I want to talk about pro play and like how awesome it is to have this job while I'm in college. There's like so many other random jobs I've had that are just entertaining, honestly. So yeah, let's do that. Let's start from the beginning. When I was 16 in Colorado, you could get a job at 15, but my parents were working, and I didn't want to have to figure out rides or have to walk somewhere. So I just waited until I was 16 and had my car to get a job. And my first job was as a lifeguard, which I was like, this is going to be so fun. I'm just going to sit in the sun and tan all day. I mean, not sit, but like walk and tan and be out in the sun and be out in the summer weather and whatever. And my mom, on the other hand, was like, Hannah, I don't know. You realize like this job revolves around like saving people's lives. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm just going to get a fun tan. It was crazy. It was such a fun job. I ended up working in the city I grew up in, and we have 3 different pool locations. I ended up getting moved to a different pool, but it was honestly super duper fun. Like the best lifeguarding thing that could have happened, because it was a small group of people that worked at this pool specifically, and there was like 12 of us. So it was all of us every single day getting to hang out and spend time together. And then a lifeguarding was also awesome because just since it's so hot and it requires focus, you're only on like 45-minute shifts, and then you get a 15-minute break. So I think I ate like 8 popsicles a day, because you get in from the sun and all you want is a nice little icy pop, and you sit there for 15 minutes, and then you go back out and you do it again and come back and eat another popsicle. But that job was fun. It was definitely more than I expected. There was a lot of training involved, which there should be. I don't know why my 16-year-old brain was like, lifeguarding is going to be so easy. But literally, like my first week on the job, a kid had a seizure in the pool, and we had to like evacuate the pool and pull him out, and the ambulance came, and that was like a rude awakening of, oh my gosh, you actually need to like be on this. But all in all, it was a good first job to have. I got to teach swim lessons to little kids, which I loved. I had a couple awesome saves, which like sounds selfish. I don't know what the right word is. It's too late for me to think about that, but like I was saving lives, and it like actually was really fulfilling in a way that I wasn't expecting originally. So that was super fun. And then yeah, I just had some awesome friends that I got to work with, and I did get my tan, but unfortunately we always had to wear shorts and some sort of like tee or something. So it wasn't like old timey movies where it's like a little swimsuit that you get a tan in, but it's okay. I had a little farmer's tan for a while there. That was awkward, but yeah, so that was my first job. And then the summer season ended, and we moved back to the indoor pool because we were in Colorado. So obviously you can't be outside at the swimming pools year round. And I just was not feeling the indoor pool. Like, I'm not getting a tan. It's so humid and hot in here. I have to do all the same trainings. I'm in a big group of like 30 staff members. It just wasn't as fun. So I decided to find a new job. So I left that job and found a job at Tilly's, the clothing store. It's like a little skater clothing store. It's like every middle school, early high school girl's dream clothing. So I got a job at Tilly's, which again was super duper fun, a great high school job. It was so mundane and easy, like folding clothes for 8 hours straight. That part of me was like, this is great. My job is so easy. But it was also like the 8 hours just took so long to go by if that's like what your shift was. So that job, I don't think I was there for a long time, because I got that job probably when I was like about to turn 17 maybe, or already 17. And then COVID hit. So obviously no people were shopping in stores in person or anything when COVID first hit. So they shut down the store, and they like fired all of us, I guess technically, or there was a fancy word that they used back then. But so I was about to go off to college at this point. It was COVID hit in March, and then I was leaving in July for school. So I was like, I just really want to make money for like 3 more months, and I need to find a job. So then my brother luckily offered, he was working at Pizza Hut at the time. He was like, we're always looking for cooks. The store is crazy busy right now because since people can't go out to eat, they're ordering pizza all the time. So I was like, okay, I never thought I'd be like a food person. I didn't want to be, but if this is how I'm going to make money, I just need to make money. So I went and worked at Pizza Hut for a while, which honestly freaking sucked. Like that job sucked. You smelled like pizza. I was working with like the weirdest, gross, like 35-year-old men, and I was like 17. I'm the only one who had anything put together in my life. And I don't know, it really sucked. And my boss, like I would get so mad because she'd tell me to be there at 10 every day and I'd get there at 10 and just be like prepping pizzas for 3 hours straight, and then she'd roll in 3 hours late at like 1 p.m. but then get pissy about other random things. And I'm like, you're just not, you're a hypocrite, and hypocrites like bug me to death. So that job actually didn't last long. I left, I was supposed to leave early July for college, and I think I quit that job mid June because I was like, I just can't do it anymore. So I left that job pretty quickly. And then I moved out here, and at first it was a little scary because we were in COVID, so I didn't know what I was going to do for work at all. But luckily, when I went to play at Fullerton for Megan and Philip, who I've talked about, they own this volleyball club. They own Pro Play Volleyball Club. So they were like, we can give you a job. And I was like, you guys are life saving. And Philip had some other connections to people in the volleyball world. So he ended up being able to get me on at a high school as the JV coach. So I went over to a high school and coached JV, which was super duper fun. I mean, in the midst of COVID, there was all this crazy COVID stuff, but it was super duper fun. So yeah, that was kind of the start of my coaching career, was coaching JV at that high school. And then after that, that freshman year kind of ended, and then starting into sophomore years when some COVID regulations started to lift for me in college. So we were able to have like a real volleyball season. So I was back at Fairmont, back at the high school coaching again, and then I was also with Pro Play. So my first season at Pro Play, I was like terrified. I've never really coached in my life, like a club team. This is important. Parents are paying a lot of money for this. The girls want to learn. I was super duper nervous, but I ended up being the head coach for a 14-5s team. And if you guys aren't sports people, basically you have like your ones team, which is like all of your best players, like travel team, could win a national championship, whatever, trying to go to nationals, all these things. And then like every team after that, you like start going into non-travel beginner level things. So I was at the 5s, which was our lowest 14s team. And then I was an assistant for our 16-3s, which was a travel team, and they were really good. So the season started, the 14s, I was just kind of like figuring out, honestly, like as I went along. I didn't know exactly what their skill level was going to be, and I wasn't sure how I could best coach lower level teams. So I was just kind of working through all of that. And then the 16s immediately were just fun. They were like a great group of girls, super bonded group of girls. I had a great head coach and whatnot. And then honestly, shit kind of hit the fan. My head coach of the 16s team ended up getting fired, which I won't get into. It's like not really my business, I suppose. But he ended up getting fired, and the decision was made that instead of bringing a new coach in midway through the season, that the best solution was that I just step up into the head coach role, which I was terrified for because at the time I was like 18 or 19, and I'm like, you want me to coach 16-year-olds? Like, they're so mean, they're so scary. But of course they weren't. They were so sweet and lovely. And we ended up having the best season ever as the 16 with the 16 team. Like, we went to Vegas at one point and we went in ranked like 150th maybe, and we finished the tournament ranked 21st. Like, the girls kicked butt, and I just had so much fun coaching that group. The 14s, on the other hand, like, I loved coaching them, and I'm so grateful that they were my first real head coaching job. But honestly, I probably owe most of them an apology because I was still learning at the time, and I know I'm a better coach today. But they stuck with me through it, and we had a great season, and they all bonded and had fun. And I still see a lot of them around, which makes me happy. So that all finished up, and then I went home for the summer, and Didn't do too much that summer while I was home, I don't think. I don't think I had a job or anything crazy. Went back the second year, coached again, and this is last year. So I had another 14s team, and then the decision was made that I was like mentally capable of head coaching a 16s team again. I don't know how they decided I could do that. But so again, I was with 14s and 16s. The 14s were freaking awesome. They were just goofy goobers who consistently made me laugh, consistently worked hard, always were learning and growing and asking questions and getting better. So they were super fun. At the 16s, same thing, super duper fun. We went through some like trials and tribulations together because some girls had to leave for school things, some girls weren't loving volleyball, so they left. We went through a lot, but it was a great season with them again. And then last summer, I went home and I worked at Vasa. I forgot about this. I worked at Vasa Fitness at a gym. Basically, it's kind of like Planet Fitness, but any of those like corporate gyms, basically. And this honestly might have to be a podcast in itself, but basically, I quit on the spot and walked out of my job after working there over the summer. It was like good to start. I met some fun people, but same thing as Tilly's. Like it was just so mundane. Like the hours took forever to pass by, forever. So that was not very fun. And then we like had some shifts in management. My first week on the job is like HR showing up, shit show, sexual misconduct, people getting fired, people coming in. We don't have a general manager. Our general manager, money's missing from the cash register. Like all of these things are happening, and it's my first week on the job. And then that means I'm not really getting trained because they're worried about so many other things and like who is my manager, who's not my manager. I don't even know at this point. But basically, one day we had a pretty big problem with a customer, and instead of my like interim manager lady standing up for me, she like blamed me for the whole thing in front of the customer, and I just lost it. And I'm just a true believer in like your people are your people, whether that's like your group of coworkers, the kids you're watching, whatever, the kids I'm coaching, anyone, my family, my group of friends, whatever, and I'm gonna like defend them in public and like talk to them in secret if I have an issue. And she just like blatantly called me out for something that I actually didn't even do. So I lost it and I went to the break room and she came looking after me and was like, what? And just was not understanding where I was coming from. And I was like, you know what? We are not on the same page. And my GM at the time, we had just hired a new GM. He came in and he was the most lovely human. And I think if that gym is still up and running and alive and doing their thing, it's all kudos to him. But I explained my situation and he was super understanding. I think, you know, sometimes people, when you quit your job, you like can't get letters of recommendation and there's like harsh vibes left. And he was totally understanding. He was like, if you left right now, like I would totally get it. Like, yeah, I'm glad we're on the same page because I'm leaving. So no bad vibes there. I mean, between me and that other manager lady, sure was, but between me and the general manager, the big guy, like we were good. And I was out of there ASAP. But it was honestly kind of nice because in the last couple weeks that I was home, I just got to enjoy being home with my family and being with Sam and spending all my quality time with them instead of having to worry about working a job at the same time. So I think that brings us to this year. This year I had decided, you know, I'm not going to coach high school. The stipend you get paid as a high school coach just isn't nearly enough to make the commute and the drive up to where I was coaching worth it for me. So that's why I had gotten the job at Vasa, was to make that extra money over the summer to cancel out when I decided not to coach high school. So we jumped right into club season this year. Again, they're like, you do so good with the 14s and 16s, do it again. And I'm like, thank you so much for having faith in me. So I got 14s. This year I don't want to say upgraded because all of my girls have been awesome, but just skill level based, I ended up getting a 14s travel team, which is just not something I've done before. I've always loved coaching those lower level 14-year-olds, new beginners, just learning the love of volleyball. But this year they gave me a travel team, which I was totally open to. And that's who I was with all weekend. My 5-1 gals, they kicked butt, and we go to Vegas in a little while, and then they go to Dallas. And then again, they gave me a 16s travel team, which I've been doing for a few years now. So those girls are awesome too. I should give them plenty of credit, even though I haven't coached them this weekend. They are hard workers, and I think they had team bonding today and like made slime or something. And They're just a good group who is always coming in ready to practice, ready to learn, ready to work their butts off. But the truth is that this job is the best job I've had to date. And I truly can't wait to become a teacher. And I know I'll have to leave this job to go do that. But while you're in college, I highly recommend finding a job like this. It's just so good for my schedule. And I do have to work on the weekends sometimes. And most of the time, it's by choice. But you're working the evenings because that's when other kids are out of school, which means it works perfectly with my schedule that I can go to my practices in the morning, I can go to school during the day, and then I can work at night. And you're only coaching a couple nights a week. My girls only practice 3 times a week, and one of those is a positional clinic, which is basically like a big group training session. And after speaking with my bosses, Megan and Philip, about that, we decided that I didn't need to be one of the coaches leading the training session. So it's another day off of work for me, but there's always, always, always work to do for these volleyball clubs between tournament sites and selling gear and organizing things and organizing teams and setting up schedules. And there's so much good work to find that you can work around a college schedule. And I'm trying to think of other jobs that could be similar to this outside of coaching. I feel this way about substitute teaching also. Every state has different rules about who can and cannot be a substitute teacher. But if you can get in on that, do it because you get paid pretty well every day. And if you only have classes like 3 days a week, go coach or go teach like Tuesday, Thursday, or whatever days you have free because it's a good little income for you. Another bright side of coaching is that it's good money. You're trusted to teach kids a lot, and club fees are pretty expensive already in the get-go. So you get paid really well as a coach for the limited hours you're putting in. And obviously, it's a lot emotionally. It's not like a desk job where you go sit there and you can not worry about anything for 8 hours. It's a draining job, but it's also super fulfilling and absolutely worth it. So I've wondered a lot and thought about it a lot. I think this is where I'm going to lead before I close out. If coaching is a long-term thing for me, and I don't think it is. That's something that shocks most people when I tell them. I am just so excited to be a teacher and be in the classroom during the daytime and then be able to focus on my family at nighttime. And since one of my biggest goals and desires in life is like a strong, stable, loving household and family, coaching isn't something I want to interfere with that time that I could have. So maybe coaching will come back if it's meant to be, it will be, but I don't know. Right now, I'm happy with the idea that I could go work during the day and then just be with my family at night. And I don't know, right now, these kids are my family, they're my children, but I'll have some of my own one day that I want to be able to focus on and spend all my time with. So I think that's going to be it for me. That's going to be the podcast. Sorry if this week wasn't my best week. I'm going to get back to it next week. I don't have any plans next weekend. So it should be better, hopefully, because this week, I think just getting back in the swing of things kind of wrecked me. And then I don't know, I think we did the math. I'm like working an extra 35 hours this week or something just over the next 2 days. But, anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to the audio. I will see all of you next week with some better updates, some better story times, all of the things. And again, if you're really interested and you're really a homie, please subscribe and keep coming back. But I only want the real ones here. So if you're not that interested, don't subscribe until you know you're in it. All right. I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.